The story of Judith and Holofernes is common, but what are its origins and how can artistic interpretations give one a deeper view of the changing social climate over the course of 200 years? Today, we will take a deeper look into famous art pieces depicting the story, placing social context to the iconic characters. Thanks for joining us beneath the grove. The story of Judith and Holofernes comes from the Book of Judith, which appears in the Catholic and Orthodox Old Testament, Deuterocanonical, and the Septuagint, which is the earliest Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible. This powerful narrative has captivated artists for centuries. In the story, Judith, a Jewish widow from the city of Bethulia, saves her people from the Assyrian army, led by General Holofernes. As the Assyrians lay siege to her city, Judith devises a bold plan. She enters the enemy camp, gains Holofernes' trust, and along with her handmaiden, ultimately beheads him while he lies in a drunken stupor. Quotes from the text illuminate this dramatic moment. She went up to the bedpost near Holofernes' head, took down his sword that hung there, and approaching the bed, she took hold of the hair on his head. With all her might, she struck his neck twice and cut off his head. Artistic interpretations through history illustrate the impacts of the story. The earliest artistic depictions can be found in manuscripts from the Middle Ages. Donatello's Judith and Holofernes, made between 1455 and 1460, is a bronze sculpture and is one of the earliest Renaissance interpretations. Originally displayed in the Medici Palace gardens as a symbol of Republican virtue, Judith stands triumphant, sword raised with Holofernes at her feet, his hand held down by her foot. Her towering figure symbolizes the victory of humility over pride, virtue over vice. Despite being seen as revolutionary for its time and depicting a powerful female figure, the sexual nature of the sculpture places more emphasis on Judith as a potential temptress rather than the virtuous and heroic woman. This can relate to the gender perceptions at the time, as Italian authors like Giuseppe Passi, author of The Defects of Women, were adamant that women were less virtuous than men and more susceptible to evil and temptation. Despite this biblical story illustrating the strength and will of a woman, the sexualization places the power in the hands of Holofernes, and therefore that of the male viewer. Not only does this create visual pleasure, but by eroticizing Judith, it removes her threatening and powerful capabilities, making her more digestible and pleasurable to male viewers. Depictions of Judith in later paintings, such as Caravaggio's Judith beheading Holofernes, made between 1599 and 1602, take on different themes. The Baroque period in Italy was a period dedicated to capturing momentary events, expressions, and emotions. One of the first things you notice about the painting is its dramatic use of chiaroscuro, light and dark contrast, a token characteristic in Baroque paintings. The scene is very dramatic. As blood gushes from Holofernes' neck, Judith and her handmaiden stand attentive to the side of the splatter. Judith shown with a determined, yet conflicted expression. This is more psychologically complex in the portrayal. Judith is an active participant, but only takes up a third of the frame, not even inhabiting the center. She is not towering over him substantively, and her position to the side shows a sense of disgust or distaste for the scene unraveling with her participation. The depiction also includes the handmaiden, a character removed from the intimate scene that Donatello created. Interestingly, there is a sense of disconnect between Judith and her handmaiden as they stand to the right hand of the painting, her handmaiden only present through her gaze to the gory scene occurring. Judith's expression of disgust and static stance create a passive environment to an active scene, reiterating the non-threatening woman, still held within a male space. Caravaggio's painting, although made in the same artistic era, takes on a very different perspective of the woman in the biblical story compared to Artemisia Gentileschi's Judith slaying Holofernes. Made between 1614 and 1620, Gentileschi's depiction of Judith depicts her as a figure with immense amounts of power and physicality. As she and her handmaiden push Holofernes down, his lifeless head is pushed over the side of the bed, his gaunt expression conveying the realism in his death and the success of the heroism of Judith. Unlike Caravaggio's depiction, the two female figures are working in cooperation, the determination on Judith's face being a testament to her unwavering goal to save her town and her people. Baroque art held the common characteristic of holding momentary qualities. Paintings captured fictional moments in a way that allowed viewers to savor a glimpse inside a longer story. Gentileschi's Judith slaying Holofernes continues these Baroque characteristics while adding energy, action, and an intriguing juxtaposition between the texture of the sheet, the blood staining the bed, and the lack of life within Holofernes' face, compared to the movement and determination of the women who are slaying him. Artistic depictions of the story from the early Renaissance to the following Baroque era can illustrate the gender perceptions at the time of their creation, further illuminating Gentileschi's advanced artistic abilities, transforming the story to be one told by the protagonist herself. If you are interested in art history, biblical stories, and mythology, be sure to like and subscribe. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok, posting daily videos about occultism, history, and art. Thank you so much for joining us today beneath the grove.